Alright, what's going on, traders? This is Rob MV3 Trader. It's been a while since I made a video like this. I've been just mostly doing the live streams and working on a lot of stuff in the background. So what I wanted to do real quick, we just get on here and do a quick little recap of some things that I picked up from Friday and go over just kind of some things with my progression with Leeloo up to this point. So, let's just, I'll get into all that later. Let's just go ahead and jump right into this. So I'm just going to go ahead and replay Friday's session. I'm not going to replay the whole thing. I'm not going to make everybody, sit through all of that. But it's just some things that I want to point out here. So we'll just skip around. But here we are at the open. All right. Yeah, this is 9:30 at the open. So some things that I'm noticing out the gate is I'm noticing, matter of fact, let me go ahead and bring this my little tool up here. Know some things now. Let me hit the blue, since we in the classroom right now. So anyway, we're trading right now. By the New York Stock Exchange open, we were trading within the value area, and also in between our balance, what we call it, my balance levels here. So I'm really not paying attention to this down there. I'm not expecting us to really fall short, especially once I see this price action coming in. We're kind of choppy, got some bulls starting to push things higher. So I'm really just looking. I got a couple things that I'm looking for, right? So I like to look for volume, and I'm not looking for a short. I'm definitely not looking for a breakout, just because of the structure and what I mentioned earlier. But I am looking for a place to where I'm not looking for a short in this range right here. I'm looking to take a short once we get some more pullback. So I'm looking for a place where the volume drops off, and like the best location that I can actually see, just from the beginning, as soon as we the market opens, is the main area that I'm looking at is up here. Also, but I am also paying attention to this balance level right there, but it's looking at the volume. I'm not that crazy about it. I understand that we could see some action right there because it is a balance level, and also we do have our power range of -2 right there. Let me clear that out because it's getting a little messy. But so that's the things that I'm just looking at. But the main place that I want to get in, the main place that I'm looking for a trade, is my favorite. Let me say that one more time. The main place that I'm looking to get into a trade is way up here. So I would like for us to have a pullback, and I guess I'm taking a screenshot of something at this point. But yeah, I would like for us the price to retrace heavily from our overnight sell-off, because it started selling off right from the gate, as we can see right here. The timing was perfect on that little thing while I'm putting a note in there. So this is a pre-market screenshot, and this is the entire session. So you can see as soon as the session started, at the right side of this volume profile there, we just started selling off, saw some accumulation out here at that same balance level. That's I'm gonna bring up another point about that later. This is one of the lessons. And had a little bit of little dip lower, look below and fell, a little bit of retracement, and just hanging around in the zone right here. Had some more sell-off in the pre-market leading up to the open, right? So to fast forward a little bit, let me we can see we got this is the first 3-minute candle. So a lot of indecision, but mostly in favor of the bull. So like I mentioned earlier, I like this area. This is the area I like the most. I really wanted to trade back to the power range, and then I would, for sure, if it traded back to the power range, I'm shorting it. Depending on how fast that happened, I have a short trading window from 9:30 to 10:30. So highly unlikely that it's going to make it up there, but the closest level I like is up here. All right, at our power range -1. Okay, so go ahead and hit the play. It's looking at this point, it's looking favorable that we're going to get the kind of pullback that I want. But I am noticing this balance. I have already noticed this balance level, even though I didn't note it down or anything. I just didn't like the volume how the volume was looking in that area. But as we fast forward a little bit, right here, I'm just looking to see, that was just a risk test. I'm just looking at, if I was to take a trade right here, what would be the risk on that? I'm just looking just to get a quick little assessment of the risk profile for this area down here. It took me a while because sometimes it can be hard to place the orders in multi-charts and maneuver them around. So, you know, I was struggling with that for a minute, but I was just doing a quick little risk profile, just checking the risk. If it, you know, if I was to entertain a break lower, you know, for a short, right? So that's all that was. Fast forward a little bit more. And okay, now we get into our balance level. This is when I, you know, start to put where I want the trade. But in hindsight, now I'm just gonna watch this right here I'm just gonna let this play out so we can see the response to this balance level here. In hindsight, I actually could have taken a quick trade here, right? And just spoiler alert, it did end up trading beyond this, but I could have had a quick position in here, and we'll see how this plays out. I wonder if I can, yeah, I know I can speed it up. Let me try to speed this up a little bit. Go faster. All right, just to speed things up so we're not just watch. So yeah, we see we got nice rejection, and I noticed this in hindsight. You see, right? I just did that right there as I started to notice it, and I lost my train of thought right there, but but you know, okay, so I'm starting to put some notes in here because I'm wondering what I'm doing at this point. All right, yeah, so I'm starting to draw some notes in there so that I'm going to put in the journal. And of course, we all know where the journal is. If you want to see the journal, link is in the description below. But what I'm taking away from this as I'm witnessing this, you know, in the moment, is this is giving me reasons to be a little more, or to have more faith in these balance zones. I've seen it, you know, multiple times to where we get, you know, good price action near the balance zone. So just for me moving forward, this, you know, increased my faith in the balance levels. I didn't create these levels. They came from someone else's charts. To be specific, JJ from Confessions of a Market Maker. But I understand how he did it. You know, that's the important thing. And I kind of redrew them on other charts, but that's a whole nother story for another day. So these are hard levels based off of data from years ago, and they're still consistent to this day. It's very interesting. So all, you know, my key takeaway from that is that I can have more faith in these balance levels. So that's the first takeaway. All right, so let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit more. It should be right around in here. I don't want to make this video too long. Around the time where we're about to get, where my orders are actually about to get filled. So maybe a couple minutes before this, our balance level, I mean not our balance level, our what do you call this? Our value area shifted higher. I was thinking to move my order up. Like I was also, the whole time I'm looking at this as a range. So if I had to box this out, this level right here is a range. I just took it at the most aggressive point because I didn't want to miss the trade. Kind of more on that later as I go into this Leeloo, my progress with Leeloo. But I took it at the most aggressive point, and in hindsight, another spoiler alert, this was actually a really good level for me to take it. If I remember correctly, well, I know for a fact eventually it did trade higher into this where I had this. So I broke this trade up into 2 entries. I had my first entry here for 2 contracts, and then another entry up here for 1 contract for a total of 3 for the position size of 3 contracts. micro, NQ. We know what I trade. I ain't gotta mention all that. So yeah, I trade M and Q for those who don't know. But anyway, getting back to the point. So the takeaway from this is I really didn't trade this correctly. As you'll see here, I'm looking. You can see my actions and what I'm looking. When I got filled, looking at the structure and how strong this 3-minute bar came in right there, and just looking at everything, and I have a belief that we're gonna pull back more into the power range. So, and also a lot of this has to do with the fact that I adjusted my strategy, which I'm trying not to get ahead of myself, but I guess it'll make sense to go ahead and bring it up now. So before but the way that I developed my strategy is to where I didn't have to worry about timing, and I pretty much developed a strategy to where I'm position trading intraday, right? Position trading is usually something that's swing trading or like a technique that's used for investing, but I developed a strategy where I position trade intraday. It's just the problem with that is trying to do that under having that kind of strategy with the restrictions, with like the max drawdown and stuff. When you any funded trading account, it's not just Leeloo, so it's hard to have that kind of strategy and see significant results. I guess I could probably scale it down and not enter in on the position with so many contracts as I was doing before. So the problem isn't the strategy itself. The problem comes in when I'm off, when I'm not trading the strategy correctly, or when like I'm just, for whatever reason, my frequency is off and I'm just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm not executing the strategy the way that it is designed to be executed, and I'm being way too aggressive, kind of like what I had back in January when I hit the max drawdown in my first round with the Leeloo performance account, right? And then the last big loss that I took from that loss, because I also didn't fully trade it was a difficult day for me personally to trade, and I didn't execute the strategy as well as I could have. So what I decided to do was implement sort of a hard stop loss, which I don't really like to do, especially with the way that I get into a trade. So with that, now timing is a factor. So the whole reason that I developed my strategy the way that I did was to remove timing, because I was never good at timing. But when you use a hard stop loss, timing becomes more of a factor. It's not as big of a factor as if I was, if I had my original breakout strategy that I started with, but it's still a factor because I have to get the right price at the right time to where I'm not getting taken out of the trade before it works out in my favor, right? So before, when I didn't have the hard stop loss and it was based off the structure and it was based off the position as a whole, I was still trading with a stop, right? But my execution had to be on point. So that means I can't, with that strategy, under the rules and restrictions of trading in a funded account, and then, trying to trade with when you got that limited amount of risk that you can take, and a small window of risk that you can take, which for my Leeloo account now is $2,500. With the volatility that we've seen with just the micros lately, $2,500 is not a lot, depending on how you position into it. But sticking to the point, I put in having this hard stop loss in there now. I have to be mindful of where I get in and the timing that I get in, so that, to minimize the chance of me getting just stopped out on excessive pullback, trading a little bit further than I would, than I thought it was going to trade. And that's going to happen. So it's going to happen. And it's just one of those things of trading with a hard stop loss, which is kind of the reason I don't like to do it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can there's a lot of times where you can be right on the trade you can be right on the direction, but you just got the timing off. You don't have the best price because we don't know exactly where they're going to take the price, even though we can see that, yeah, it's highly likely, that's highly probable that the price is going to do whatever here and trade in the direction that I wanted to trade in. We don't know exactly when that's going to happen. All right. So anyway, I went out through that long explanation to say that's what was going on in my mind right here. And while I was looking to, why I didn't like the trade so much at this, why I didn't like the trade so much after I got into it, I still like the position. And then the way the price action and all that stuff, the way everything was going, and with that frame of mind, I ended up killing the trade too early. Whereas before, with the original strategy, I would have been trading this more as a whole position and not just as this one trade when I'm trying to get the timing and get the best price and get the timing right to where I don't get pulled, where I don't get stopped out before the price moves in my favor, right? So I'm going to go ahead and play this again, and we can see in hindsight, after I've already taken myself out of the trade at this point for just a very small win. And I'm writing some notes here. You can read that on the side if you want. But just to fast forward a little bit to get through all of this, it chopped around up here for a minute. And you can see that we were very choppy throughout the whole session. Even in the pre-market, it was we was up and down, the whole session. So it ended up trading back in my favor. And it would have been a much bigger position had I held it. So now one of the things that I did take away is, instead of just taking the quick profit, what I could have did was just minimize the risk, because I think the stop loss was up here somewhere. So once we got this candle, especially once it closed, what I could have did was I could have taken the stop loss down lower, and because if it went higher, then it was not going to go in my favor, of course. And I could have just adjusted my stop loss and put the stop loss somewhere up here, not right above the high, but a little bit, a few points away from the high, and just let it play out from there. Had a target right there back at our balance level, because we know we're going to get some sort of reaction at the balance level, and then just been good to go right there. So that's the takeaways that I had from Friday's session. Now, so to kind of get back to the point about the difference between how I've adjusted my strategy in terms of the stop loss. So just to put this into perspective, this is on TradingView. This is my performance. And let me get let's see. I adjusted. So I brought the hard stop loss in around after April. So we'll put April 8th, the first trade. So I took that big loss, the $800 loss on April 7th. So after that, then I decided to go ahead and put a hard stop loss in of 20 points, because that's just that's from just how much I've studied it and everything. So, and what I'm comfortable with the amount of contracts that I'm trading this with. All right, and it's also to collect data as well, just to see how well it would work. I've been kind of doing that in Sierra chart, but I'm not as consistent with it as if I would do it with Leeloo. But anyway, so just to give perspective, so this time frame is from my entire time from when I started trading with Leeloo, which is July 22nd, up until this April 8th, when I implemented this hard stop loss. So this is before I got the strategy that I have now, until the time when I implemented the hard stop loss. Okay, so now we can see the results here. I'm gonna go to detailed view, and we can see just my results from trading this way. I got something. Okay, I gotta take this tag out of here. I know that wasn't a full. All right, that wasn't all the information. Okay, so here's all the information, and you can see the first thing I want to point out is, okay, we can look at the total. I'm sure that's where everybody's eyes are going to go immediately, but just looking at this from a win-loss perspective, the accuracy from the time that I started trading. This is not with the strategy that I use now, right? I had a breakout strategy before where I would just mostly take breakouts from ranges and breaks into highs and breakouts on pullbacks after, you know, what I call takeout trades. I can talk about that more in another video. So this is not all of the strategy that I use now. This is a blend of the strategy that I use now without the hard stop loss and the strategy that I used before. All right. So you can see I had, you know, a 81% win loss ratio, 81%, 17% losses. And the biggest loss, now what's interesting to me in this, with this, is the biggest loss that I had was $2,000. My biggest gain was $600 now, but still, I'm still net positive 3 times my biggest loss. So that's just something that I found very interesting. I'm not, and this is just me reviewing what I've done. In no way, shape, or form am I telling you to do anything with your personal. You trade with the way that, you know, whichever way makes sense to you. You know, you do that. That's what I, you know, that's what I, you know, teach is trade whatever strategy makes the most sense to you. I trade the strategy that makes most sense to me. You know, I trade the way that makes most sense to me, and, you know, trading from within is where you're going to find your most success. So don't copy what I do. That's what I'm saying. Do not copy what I do, because, you know, you can take bits and pieces, you know. So the way that I do it, I just explain it from the way that I do it. When I watch other traders and hear what they, you know, the way their methods and their techniques that they use, I take the bits and pieces away from it that makes the most sense to me, and then I apply it to my strengths and, you know, keeping mind and being mindful of my weaknesses and all that stuff. I apply it to who I am and who I am as a trader, right? So just getting back to this, you know, off that quick little spiel. So yeah, my biggest loss was, and the only reason I got this loss right here is because that was max drawdown. I didn't have a choice but to take a loss right there. In hindsight, had I been able to hold it, this trade here would have ended up being a winning trade. So, but because of max drawdown, so we can see the results here, and you can just look at this, the way that I loaded into this, and I got a video on this in my on the channel, but I just traded this horribly. However, had I not hit my max drawdown, you see my max drawdown was right at the low, right before it turned around, and I actually could have ended up very profitable in this trade. But it is what it is. It didn't happen that way. So it's just, again, it wasn't a strategy. It was the way that I was trading. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I wanted to point out there. And, you know, one last thing, getting back to these numbers. So I started using this strategy, the strategy that I use now, without the hard stop loss. I believe it was around October 12th. Then I did a reset on October 19th. So we're just gonna look at, it might have been before that, just looking at my numbers. So I know I did a reset. So we're gonna go from the time that I did the reset just to make it, you know, easier. The number, it's not a big difference between, in terms of the numbers. So from the time that I did the reset, October 20. All right. So this is the first day that I started trading with the new evaluation account after I reset the original evaluation account. And you can see, so that added $1,000 to my P&L, right? And I had a 95.7 win rate with this strategy, with a 4% loss rate, right? Of course, you know, you do the math, that's simple math there. Still, my biggest loser being at 2,000, and then the biggest winner being the 621, with a total net profit of $7,000. So I mean, just that. And also keeping in mind, just really quick, that there's a lot of trades within this, because after I took this big loss right here, you know, I held on to the frequency of this loss for too long, and I ended up missing a lot of trades that would have worked out. I also missed a couple trades that wouldn't have worked out as well, but I would have, you know, taken sizable losses. But I mean, you can just see from the accuracy and all of that stuff that I still would have ended up profitable had I taken every single possible trade, because I've seen more trades work out than not work out with this strategy, right? So again, I am not selling this strategy. You cannot find my strategy anywhere on the internet unless someone somehow, you know what I'm saying, found a way to steal it. So you know, this is not, I do not, you know, condone, well, that's not the right word. I'm just not a believer in, you know, just giving other people a strategy to trade. I want people to be able to. I believe that you will get your best results from trading from what makes the most sense from you, because that's exactly what I did. What I did is I built my strategy off of what made the most sense for me. I took bits and pieces from, you know, all of the other traders that I've, you know, came across. You know, since I started trading, just since I started day trading, period, from the stock market, you know, from trading stocks and options and, you know, all that stuff, right? So that's really all I wanted to talk about. I mean, if we can look at the rest of this, not much has happened since, you know, April 8th, because I haven't really been that aggressive. I kind of took my feet off the pedal a little bit, and I gotta get back more aggressive. You see, I took that date off right there. So this is from the time that I started using this strategy to present, and we still, that didn't change the P&L that much. It went to 94% from 95%. That's a whole percent. A whole percent can make a difference, but you know, still, all these other numbers are pretty much the same. So anyway, I just wanted to, you know, go over that real quick. So do a quick little recap of what I took away from Friday, and also share that insight that I gained from reviewing my progress with Leeloo up until this point. And I got to remember that my camera is up here now and not there anymore. And this is why I keep looking to the lower corner of my monitor, because my camera used to be there, right? But now it's here. And I got to remember that so I can talk here when I'm talking to you guys on these videos. So anyway, if you found value in that, I'm sure this, you know, normally what happens with these types of videos, I get a lot of interesting opinions, and you should do this and that in the comment section, and you know, I welcome it all, you know. So whatever your thoughts and opinions are, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. If you found value in this video, like it. If you didn't, don't like it, you know, it's up to you. All that stuff, contrary to what everybody says, what every YouTuber says, you know, what everybody says on YouTube, the like button and all of that stuff is there mostly for you. In terms of YouTubers, what's most important is watch time and watch duration and all that stuff because of advertisement. You gotta know a little something about advertisement and how businesses make money off of, you know, advertising. Anyway, that ain't got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. So go ahead and, you know, like, hit the comment, you know, hit the comments and all that stuff below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Trade it easy.